So how's it going, guys? I'm down here at Combat Lab on a Saturday morning with none other than the man fighting for the professional welterweight title in the main event, Coastal Combat 6, Mr. Ty Duncan. Ty, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's good to have a sit down with you. Had a nice no-gi training session then, and of course, you're certainly no stranger to the training room. You've been doing this a long time. Had your first fight when you were 16. And there's actually a little bit of local media backlash when that fight was first booked around about 2011, I believe. So the sport wasn't as well known back then. What was it like going through that as a 16-year-old?
It was kind of good and bad. Like at school, all the kids thought I was top dog, but in saying that, like I didn't really get into that side of things. But it was more. I remember when I read the newspaper and I saw like all the backlash, and I was just like, I was literally in the car crying. I didn't know what to do. So I just thought, like, fuck, am I doing the right thing, or am I just like, am I doing something wrong that I shouldn't be doing? Am I going to get hurt? And I started like thinking about all these things, and Joel kind of kept directing me in the right way, and he just said, look, you just got to believe and do as you do. And eventually, I subbed him in the first round, so I was happy.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads into my next question. Your head coach, Joel Zepsvara, you've got a pretty special relationship with him, and yeah, he was a big advocate for you going through that sort of time period, and I think he was right. First round armbar, I believe it was, over a guy named Dean Purden, who actually went on to have a pretty legit career in MMA. So it's actually a pretty impressive win for a 16-year-old to get. So how did you actually meet Joel and get into MMA?
I started doing boxing. Like, I think I tried a few places, like one at Noosa, one at Coolum with Adam, and then I saw these guys rolling around the ground. I was like, man, that looks pretty cool to do. So then I think I asked Joel, what's this? Like, how do you do something? Show me a move, and he showed me a guillotine from standing, like from a footy tackle. And straight away, I was just like, what is this, like dark magic? And so I kind of fell in love with it straight away and just trained. This is when the gym was like tiny. There's only a couple of people training at the time. Like MMA wasn't a big thing over here anyway. So it was kind of eye opening in how technical and over boxing and stuff it was. So
well, I think I speak for the rest of the MMA community. We're happy you made the jump over, that's for sure. So, of course, ever since that MMA debut, you've always been someone that a lot of people around the game have circled as someone to watch. You know, your raw athleticism and power is very obvious when you fight. Have you ever felt any of that pressure with knowing that a lot of people kind of expect you to do great things?
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's definitely one of the harder things to overcome, but as I get older and more mature, I kind of learn of ways to, and obviously the more fights I have, learn of ways to kind of overcome these little hurdles. Some people fold under pressure. Diamonds are made under pressure. So like sometimes I feel like it brings the best out of me, but sometimes brings the worst out of other people, and it all depends on the person, and it all depends on me. So I think I hit my stride under pressure. So.
Yeah. Your pro career, of course, got off to a crazy start. 3 wins, 3 submission victories, and an Australian title. Ran into a couple of tough fights after that, and then had a pretty extensive layoff due to injury. Mm-hmm. What was that time out of the cage like?
Good and bad. It gave me my whole headset, like a reset. So I kind of started with wondering why me, why does this always happen, but it made me appreciate the sport a bit more, and maybe appreciate what actually a healthy body does feel like again. Sometimes you just take it for granted, just throwing shit way too hard that you shouldn't be throwing and just end up hurting yourself. So now that I know how to train hard but also train smart, that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment, and it's worked out really well for me. So
well, it certainly has. Of course, fresh off a big win on Eternal not that long ago, end of July, so about just a month removed. And of course, that win over Jimmy O'Brien, very experienced and very dangerous fighter, training out of Integrated MMA. They got the victory. First round, I guess you call it a modified rear naked choke. Put him to sleep. I mean, how did it feel to get that hand raised again?
Yeah, pretty good. A lot of hard work went into that. I was training my balls off for over how long. I thought the fight was going to be early in the month. So I was training. My fight camp, I think, ended up being about 11 weeks long. So instead of 8 to 10. So my body was definitely shutting down by the end, like just from all the hard work, and same trying to going back to back so quickly. Like you hit these hurdles of like your body starting to ache in certain places, but like I said, the older I've got, more mature, I kind of know when to have my rest days and when to just take it easy and when to go hard. So.
So what a lot of people forget about you, Ty, is that you're still very young. People think because you've been fighting now for about 8 years that you're some people probably think you're in your late 20s, but you're only 24. 23, turning 24.
Yeah, turning 24 end of the year.
Okay, we're splitting hairs now. But still a lot of time left in that athletic prime, and it's great to hear that you are starting to figure things out. As far as the technical aspects of that finish of Jimmy O'Brien goes, talk to us a little bit about that, because I've spoken to a few people afterwards that were just blown away with your squeeze. Put him to sleep. Even he said when he came back to after he lost consciousness, he said to you in the cage, he said you didn't even have your hooks in, and put him to sleep.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like it's hard not to compare like belt levels. You go, oh, I'm a purple belt. He's a purple belt, so we should be pretty evenly matched. But it's like, man, there's a difference between like some gyms purple belts and our gym's purple belts. And it's just like it doesn't. I know our gym holds up against the best in the world. I've been training overseas with the top guys at Atos, and their jiu-jitsu is obviously on top of the world. Yeah. And my belt level held its own against their belt level. Yeah. So I know our jiu-jitsu pretty much speaks for itself. So I know it's just a different level. Their belt belts against ours just doesn't. Even a brown belt now, so like versing someone at the belt level below me is just.
So, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we are here at Combat Lab. Just finished a Saturday morning no-gear class that you actually took.
Yeah.
And you do a fair bit of coaching now in the gym here, both striking and grappling. How does the coaching help you as an athlete and as a fighter?
I love it. I especially love coaching the guys that are fighting soon. I love trying to help with mainly the mental games that go with fighting. Just I know what I struggle with.
Yeah.
Like things like pressure. What should I exactly be drilling, and I know what comforts me. I'll get my confidence is key no matter in what fight. Everything's about confidence. And if you don't have confidence in your training, you're most likely not going to be confident in the ring. So I try to make sure I have the confidence in my training by making sure I'm doing all the right things. I try and pass them on to these guys by literally giving them the tools that I've acquired over long 8 years of fighting and over 10 years of training. So. I try and just help them out as much as I can. But I love it. I love coaching.
Well, it's something you're actually really good at. What a lot of people that maybe aren't as involved in sport don't understand is that just because someone's a good fighter doesn't necessarily make them a good coach. But you're one of the rare exceptions where you can tick both boxes. And, I've seen the way you convey technical information to a lot of the fighters, and it's something you're really good at. So it's another feather in your cap there, mate. Coming into Coastal Combat 6, of course, main event in your hometown of Coolum Beach. We've relocated to a bigger venue. It looks like it's still going to sell out, so it's going to be a crazy night in there. Of course, you're fighting the main event, professional welterweight title on the line between you and the man behind Fitzroy Martial Arts, Brent Kogel. Talk to me a little bit about Brent and how you see his skill set lining up with yours.
Well, it's definitely a different puzzle. Like I'm actually really excited. I haven't really fought someone with that kind of stance. I'm actually genuinely excited to try and work out this sort of puzzle and try and piece together what exact combos work against these people. I've been working on some really specific combos and I don't know how to say it, just really specific combos that lead, especially with his stance and his switching of stances and just things that work well in my favor. And I think once I start setting things up properly, I just can't see myself losing.
Yeah, I've noticed that watching you train for this fight, it's almost like, because we've spoken about all that experience that you have, and now you come up against a new puzzle that you might not, something that not many people come across. You've got a very unique style, and I can tell just looking at the way that you're reacting to this fight, you're excited to get in there and see how it goes, trying to figure out that new puzzle. So, of course, now, final question I'll hit you with here, Ty. September 7th, main event, welterweight title on the line, mate. How do you get your hand raised in your hometown?
I think it's so hard to bet against submission. It's so hard because I picture it. I picture myself clipping him hard, and either one or two outcomes. Either I'm going to clip him, and he's going to fall down, and I'm going to jump on top of him and do what I do best and strangle him. Or another very big option is I hit him, and he's not going to like what's happening, and he's going to try and shoot like everyone else does, and then wind up back into my own game. So I think it's going to end up. On the ground regardless, whether it's by me or him, I think it's going to end up there. And I think, as always, I'm going to get the finish. So
Oh, mate, cannot wait. 1 week out as of today, so September 7th. If you haven't already, get your tickets. There's not many left. Otherwise, tune into the pay-per-view on the night. Maybe we'll see this man raising up that Coastal Combat strap.